Welcome into your Sports Tonight, this Tuesday edition. I am Bailey Burmaster alongside Lee Smith, and we have a little bit of a fun show for you because we have to start with the fact the Atlanta Dream introduced their new head coach, Carl Smesko from Florida Gulf Coast. We had brought you an exclusive interview with him right after that announcement. Now he has boots on the ground in Atlanta. He becomes the Dream's 8th head coach. Before I dive into my thoughts, Lee, you were there. Thoughts on the direction the Dream are going now and Carl and what he's going to bring to this offense?
So Tanisha Wright had been there for a while. And, she seemed like she clicked with the players. Unfortunately, just the record-wise, didn't necessarily get it done. So they made a change. And they went out and they got top 3 winningest coaches ever in college.
Yeah, so
women's college basketball.
He has.
So that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, he's built FGCU, Florida Gulf Coast, to what it essentially is. He was there for 22 years, and in that had 611 wins to 112 losses. That's an 84.5 winning percentage.
That's crazy.
Top 3 among all active Division I women's basketball coaches. The criteria that Dan, and he'll talk about it when we get to this press conference, General Manager Dan Padover talked about was they wanted a proven winner. They wanted someone that could build a culture, and then they wanted someone that was a creative basketball mind. And that is certainly what they feel they got in Carl.
Well, and all the players seem like they've already connected with him.
Absolutely. There's been times in the past where Carl has deemed his entire roster as shooters because he believes everyone should be shooters, and that's what this offense is really geared towards. We were able to talk to Nia Coffey and Alicia Gray, who seem really excited about it, but before further ado, I'll just let Dan speak to the hiring process, how collaborative this really was. You'll hear from Carl on the person he is, what he looks for in a team, and he even talked a little bit about what his coaching staff might entail. And then you'll hear from Nia Coffey and Alicia Gray about kind of the changing of guards here for the Dream, what they can do as a team to stay together, but also what they're looking forward to in this offense. So let's get to it.
There have never been more eyeballs than there are now. This league is looking for advocates. Have you given much thought about how you can be an advocate not only to your team, but pushing this league to even further and further as far as getting fans involved and supporting this team?
Well, you're right. There's no better time to join the W than right now. This is the most exciting time for the league, and I think I want to be an advocate for women's sports and for the city of Atlanta. And, one of the simple ways to do that is to develop a team that everybody is proud of, a championship level team. That's the ultimate goal. I think that will go a long way to building interest for the future women's basketball players in the Atlanta area.
Coach, this is questions for you. My name is Milton Kerb with the Truth Seekers Journal. It's a two-part question. How would you assess the caliber of the teams that you played when you're at Florida Gulf Coast University? That's one part. And the second part, in terms of coachability, the young ladies at the college level, 19 to 25, they were all interested in making sure that they kept their scholarships and had an opportunity to go to the pros. How do you assess or characterize the coachability of the superstars that you're working with here at the Atlanta Dream?
Well, let me break that down into parts. One, at FGCU, we always try to schedule as tough as we could. So we would play as many Power 4 now programs, and we're the mid-major that had the most success against those schools and won games in the NCAA tournament against Power 4 schools repeatedly. So that's always, we never shy away from any challenge or any competition. For us, it was a hard time getting any of those universities to play us. We would play just about anybody, anytime. As for how does that competition compare to this, it doesn't. These are the greatest women's basketball players in the world, and that's what drew me to this opportunity. One thing that I can say with the conversations that I've had with the players already is they're very mature, they want to win, they want to be coached. All of the conversations have been really positive, and it is just made me excited to get started.
Hello.
Oh, look at this.
Ryan Howard, you're a new player.
Yes.
I know we've talked, but, you know, from a player's perspective, I think I can speak for us. We've been building something. We've been establishing something. How do you intend on bringing your style of play and, like, incorporating it into what we have going on?
Yeah, well, one, I want to make sure that you guys are involved in the process. I want to have more conversations. I want to make sure that we build a relationship. I want you to understand why we're doing the things that we're doing and how it ultimately impacts winning, which we're all going to be about. It's all going to be about putting people in the best positions to be successful and helping the Atlanta Dream win basketball games. And I'm really looking forward to that, and I hope you guys are as well.
I got one for Dan and one for Coach.
Okay.
Dan, as right now, you don't have a first-round pick. Right now, you don't have a first-round pick. I'm curious about the players you picked last year who stayed Australia and over in Europe. What's the status with those players?
Yeah, so there are draft rights players. We're really looking forward to, bringing them in this upcoming spring and seeing them in camp, and are staying connected with them right now and making sure they're doing the things they need to be in the WNBL, and really looking forward to see what they have.
Did they have a good season?
Yeah, so they're playing right now. Okay. Their season just started about a week ago, but we've been following them closely and really looking forward to doing that over the next few months.
Coach, the coach speak is adjustments.
Yep.
And especially at halftime, coaches and players have to make adjustments. What do you think is the number one adjustment you have to make because you're making this jump to this league?
Well, right now I think it's the speed of the game. Like I go to WNBA games regularly, and just to see the speed of it, now that means as a coach you got to be able to make decisions quicker, you got to be assertive. So I'm trying to prepare myself for the different speed of the game so that they're not having to wait on me for things, that I'm decisive, and that I can get them the information they need when they need it.
Well, hey, Carl. My name is Megan Hall. I'm with USA Today's For the Win. Wanted to ask you, what's important to you as a person? Like, if you had to boil down, your values to 3 to 5 things, what's important to you?
Whew, that's deep, right? Yeah, I mean, I think I'm probably like most people, you want to be dealt with honestly. So I value honesty. I value people that work hard and give an honest effort for something. And I value people that like working with other people and then enjoy that process.
Coach Brandon Leak, Sports Radio 680 The Fan. What do you think about the talent you have coming to the WNBA for the first time? You have a Rookie of the Year, a couple of time All-Star. Alicia was an All-Star. Nia's a veteran player. What do you think about the talent you have to get started in your coaching career?
I'm impressed with what we have. We've got some really talented players, and the exciting thing is I think they can be even more productive in a style of play that I envision. So what we're capable of, no one really knows for sure till we all get together and we all work together and see how it shakes out. But we're just going to try to make good decisions every day, have a process of progress. And if we continue to improve throughout the year, I think, we have enough quality, talented players to be really good really soon.
We're going to jump to Zoom. Go ahead, Emmanuel Glaze.
Hey, Coach, as everybody has said, welcome to the team. This team has been in the playoffs the last 2 years. What do you feel like you can bring to take them to maybe that next step in the playoffs going forward?
Well, it's not so much what I can bring individually, it's what we could do together. We're going to all have to find a path and work on it and get better. But I think what we can really try to do is be in a situation where we value the improvement and the progress of our players and our teams. We can develop the relationships so that we can have a level of trust that will improve any team. So this is a day-by-day thing. I'm not someone that the players are going to take to immediately. I'm more of a person that over time they see that they're treated fairly, honestly, with respect, and once you do that over a period of time, then you start to build something special within a team, and that's that's the way I do things, and I think it'll be successful at this level.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
We'll go to Jackie Powell from the Next. Go ahead, Jackie.
Hi, all. Hi, Dan and Carl. Congratulations. Nice to meet you on Zoom. This is a question for Dan. I'm just curious, with the expansion draft coming up, how collaborative some of the decision making is going to be between the two of you, where Dan, you've overseen the roster, the draft picks, and the development of all of these players, and Carl is sort of coming in where the players haven't worked with him before, but he knows the types of players that are going to fit into the system he wants. So I'm just curious, what does that balance look like as you're approaching something that's very soon?
Yeah, it's absolutely a collaborative effort. Just like Carl would say, you want to get the best out of your players and put them in the best possible position. I always felt like in my role, my job is to put the players and coaches in the best possible position. So Carl and I will work very closely amongst other members of our staff and our ownership group and make sure that we're positioned the best for our team to move forward. And we're really excited to do that. It's fun to work together. It's always better when we have more than one mind.
Thanks so much.
We'll go to Marlon Hyde. Marlon, go ahead.
Hey, good afternoon. With WABE, can y'all hear me well?
We've got you.
All right. So this one is for Dan. With ATL being so diverse, were there any considerations for possibly a woman or a person of color becoming the next head coach?
As you mentioned, within the search process, we took a look at a lot of different people from a lot of different backgrounds. And one of the things we're most excited about Carl is how much of a diverse staff he's had over the years, promoting former players, having them go see further success, and really excited to bring that energy into this organization.
Go ahead, Ben Pickman from The Athletic.
Hey, thanks, Sam. Just for Carl, a quick one. Just, in the week since this news has been announced, since you've been the head coach, just what are the things you've focused on and immediately thrown yourself into trying to learn about?
Well, I focused on having some initial phone calls and conversations with our players, kind of get a sense for where they're at and what they were hoping for in this transition. Then I've been watching a lot of game film and of the players and full games of the team playing last year, so that I have a good sense to know what I'm talking about when I talk to them. And there needs to be actually a lot more film work and discussions with Dan as we go forward here, and we'll be doing that literally daily.
Is there any other questions in the room?
Allow me to introduce myself, Tanitra Batiste, Tegna.
Hi.
So it's a question for Dan. So I was thinking, as we were talking about coaches' experience at the collegiate level for 3 decades, and we do have one of the youngest teams in the W, was that something that you considered as maybe an advantage in what he could bring to the table?
I think overall, Carl's track record of development is an advantage. I think we have a lot of players on our team who have potential to take even more steps, and I think what Carl's shown over the course of his career is he gets the most out of his players and out of his teams. So bringing that type of experience to our group was definitely a positive.
Obviously, he's very intelligent. The biggest thing that I just thought was a huge green flag was just the relationships that he built with his coaching staff and former players, and just to see how he just develops people to help them be in leadership roles as well. And I just think that just speaks to, honestly, that intentionality, because in this sports world, there's a lot of turnover, especially with staff, and just to see that his staff has just stayed by his side for so long, I just think that's just a really good sign. So I'm feeling good about it.
When you hear about the type of offense he runs, and there's been times on teams where he labels everyone a shooter. What does that make you feel as a team that wants to get this offense going?
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
Nah, I love it because, I love to shoot. So hearing about that, and I actually look like his team up on YouTube. So I watch clips. I did some research. So just seeing the style of play and knowing he liked his player to shoot, I was very excited.
I would say the same thing, and just looking at basketball as a whole, on both sides, men and women's basketball, it's moving that direction. So I just think we have that core where we have the skills and the ability to do that. So I just think we'll come together nicely. So I'm excited.
I know you guys don't get to make these major big decisions, but you guys are a really close unit. I'm curious what you feel like needs to happen for this team to find even more success this upcoming season.
Bringing Carl in is exciting. I think the next biggest step we need to take is making it further in playoffs. I mean, we know the taste of being in playoffs, but now it's time to actually win games in the playoffs. And even during the season, winning those close games and being able to carry our first half into the second half and playing a complete game.
I would say what I have heard and I've seen from his teams, he does a really good job of getting all the talent out of his players. And I agree with Dan that we have a lot of players on our team that can continue to make steps forward. So I think with just strategy and just the right development that we can make strides with the group that we already have. And then obviously I know Dan will do a good job of bringing in the pieces that we need as well.
What was your first conversation with him like?
He asked what I was doing, and I've just been training. And then he asked, "What does that look like? What are we working on?" And then he asked specifically, how do I see the game when I'm training? And he kind of really got into detail. It was really quick. That's when I really started to see, okay, he has a basketball mind. He's very intelligent. He's trying to build relationships. He's being intentional with that, just to see how I move, how I think, and all that stuff. He's already looked at film and giving me feedback. So it's going good. Yeah.
Pretty much the same conversation. We also talked about Unrivaled and him coming out to see the games and continue to build that player-coach relationship.
I know that a coach transition is always difficult on players. What can you guys do to make it a little bit easier?
Well, for me, being in the league a good little minute, I done had several coaches, so it's pretty easy to me. I just learned to adapt to the coaching and what they bring to the team.
Yeah, I've had the same experience. I've been on multiple different teams, different coaches, different strategic plans, everything, all that. I honestly think with the core that we have now, we are fairly easygoing people, and we communicate what we need, what we think, and I feel like from our leadership staff, they really listen to us, and they really pour a lot into us, and so I think it's a two-way street. So I think we're set up for success here.
Last one for me, since you were bringing up the YouTube videos, what stood out to you in the offensive creativity those teams put on the floor?
Just the space on the floor, how they drive and kick, and how they just incorporate everybody. I mean, everybody eats within the offense, and I think that's the most exciting thing, because when you take away one thing, you're able to adapt and be successful in other areas.
Okay, so we will see how that all pans out. Obviously, they're in a bit of an off season. They'll go through, get their coaching staff together, and then free agency. So we will see what happens. Switching to the NBA.
The Great Barrier Thief.
So do you like this nickname? Aaron and I were talking about it last night.
I assume that's Dyson Daniels?
Yes.
Having no context whatsoever.
Amazing.
Love it.
So Aaron is team...
Great.
Aaron is team Dice Spice, like as an Ice Spice, but
Yes.
Dice Spice.
I like that too, but I like Great Barrier Thief.
I like that it references that he's from Australia, and that it references all his
and dude
steals.
can get a steal.
So I don't know if you saw the game last night against the Kings, but he ends the game with a takeaway, another steal, and everyone's celebrating, huge get. And I think it's Clint Capella comes behind him and pretends to put him in handcuffs and walk him off the court.
What better way? What better way to end a game?
Because he's the Great Barrier Thief. So he stole the game from the Kings, and they walk him off the court.
Look, you already know I'm here for a good pun.
I mean,
I love it.
Shout out to Australia. Does anyone not like Australians or Australia? And now we have our own, who's a Hawk and who has been playing lights out. Let me just read you some of these stats because it's actually insane. So he's been starting. Keep in mind, this is a guy who wasn't too pivotal for the Pelicans.
How old is he?
21.
Yeah, 21.
This man is barely legal.
He can legally drink. Yeah.
Now he can.
It's crazy.
He's starting for the first time. So when I tell you this man is a steal, pun intended, he is a steal, okay? So he's currently leading the league with 3.4 steals per game. His 91 deflections are a whopping 34 more than second-placed De'Aaron Fox. Daniels is averaging 4.7 steals every 100 possessions. That's the highest such figure since Nate McMillan, the guy who coached the Hawks not too long ago, did in 1993 for the Seattle Supersonics.
Oh, that's cool.
Who, by the way, don't exist.
That's cool stats.
Cool stat. He put together a 4-game streak of 6 or more steals per game, and he has recorded a steal in every single game except for Monday night's win against the Fox's Sacramento Kings, where he had the deflection to win the game.
Great barrier thief.
The Great Barrier Thief. So he is just catching fire right now.
I love that.
I do too.
I love that.
So we'll see how he's able to continue to keep impacting this team. But boy,
So wait, so give me one off the top of your head right now. Other than that,
what?
For Dyson, like another one.
Another nickname?
Yeah. Give me
I
something
mean,
else.
I just want to go up to him and go, Aussie, Aussie, Aussie.
That's not a nickname, but I like that. I was gonna just say the Dyson, because he takes everything, like the vacuum.
That's fair. I don't think it's
Now
all
it's not a
Australian,
Great
though.
Barrier Thief, but
I'm still trying to catch phrase Zachary Rissanchet pour toi. Every time Rissanchet has a three.
yeah, I'm looking at that. That's cool.
It's not really
I don't
catching
think it's
fire
gonna catch
like I
on.
liked
I
it would.
don't think it's gonna catch
I
on.
can't help that other people can't speak French. That seems like a them problem and not a me problem is all I'm saying. Okay, let's switch
So
gears. Let's talk a little bit college football. We were at Georgia, Tennessee this weekend. Georgia walks away with the 31-17 win over Tennessee, makes a statement. It was very interesting post-game. Kirby was specifically asked about the rankings and where Georgia should be. And you can tell he does not like the CFP. He doesn't like talking about it.
Not at all.
He goes, I don't know what their criteria is. I'm still confused about what they're looking for because I would like them to come down and watch our games, who we're playing, the atmospheres we're playing in, and then tell me we shouldn't be in it.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're looking for. Now, they win. They need to win out. If I'm them, I don't want to play in the SEC championship because you lose that, you're probably not making the playoff. It's going to hurt whoever loses.
Yeah.
But where do you think they fall tonight in the new updated rankings?
So where are they at as of last week before the
They are
Tennessee
the
win?
first team out of the actual playoff. I think technically they're ranked 10th or 11th, if I remember
but
correctly.
out since
but
the,
they are out.
since the conference champions
Yep.
are the top 5. Okay. I mean, they got to go up a couple of spots minimum, right? At least 2. So I would put them right behind Alabama. Wherever Alabama's at, I would put them right behind Alabama because they got the head-to-head.
Okay.
Now, here's the problem. I think in the AP right now, Ole Miss is actually ranked behind Georgia.
Okay.
But they just played, and Georgia got dominated by Ole Miss.
Mm-hmm.
But they just dominated Tennessee. So, I don't know. It's so strange. Honestly, I don't know where I'd put them.
I do think they have to be in the actual rankings this week. They're not. They don't deserve to be the first team
Oh,
out.
for sure. No. I think they should be in. Yeah, I think they should be in. But also, who are you taking out then? I mean, because to me, Penn State hadn't really played anybody. Indiana hadn't really played anybody. Well, Indiana hasn't played anybody. Penn State at least played Ohio State and they lost. Imagine that, James Franklin. So I don't know. And of course, I do think for the most part, I think there should be probably 5 SEC teams get in. I don't know if that'll happen based on what happens with the other conference champions, but I do think at least 5 right now deserve it.
Yeah, and so, okay, heading into week 13, the rankings are, this is kind of what the playoff picture, what they're predicting right now.
Yep.
Oregon, Ohio State, Texas, Penn State. Indiana, Notre Dame, Alabama, Georgia, Ole Miss, Tennessee, Miami, Boise State. Now, those are the rankings.
But who's getting the seeding?
Correct.
What's the seeding?
Correct.
So SMU's out in that scenario.
So they're beneath Boise State, so
So SMU's out. Okay.
I would assume so, because let's see. Let me do math.
So SMU is in the ACC, so they would have to beat
Yep,
Miami.
that's your 12 teams.
They would have to beat Miami to get in. Okay. I don't know. I think SMU's.
There's still, despite there's 2 weeks in championships, I think there's still a lot of ball to be played that things could shake up. I think what's more confusing is the SEC championship.
What? Yes. God, there's so many scenarios. Now, if everything holds true, if all the favorites win, then it's Texas and Alabama. Because Alabama has the head-to-head over Georgia. They have the tiebreakers over basically everybody that would be in contention.
Yeah.
If Alabama loses, I have no idea.
Who they have left?
Oklahoma at Oklahoma, and they've got Auburn at home.
Oklahoma at Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Now, they've struggled. Let's not get it twisted. But
I don't remember last
could be a
time
trap
Alabama's
game.
been to Norman. I don't know if they've ever been to Norman.
Yeah.
Actually. I don't know.
Well, we will see how it pans out. Someone who went from Norman to USC is Lincoln Riley, who recruited Juju Smith as his quarterback for 2025 in that class. But he decommitted this past weekend. And this past weekend, we saw him. He was at Georgia, Tennessee.
Yep.
He's been there before. We have seen him there before. It's been rumored that he is looking at Indiana, Colorado, or Georgia. Where are you predicting he goes? For me, it's Georgia. I don't think Indiana makes any sense. Colorado, I get, but I feel like Georgia is long-term, stature-wise, going to win a lot more games.
I think if Deion stays at Colorado, he could probably go to Colorado.
I could see it.
If Deion leaves, or what some people are saying, he might jump to the NFL for a Cowboys possible head job, which I don't know, that'd be a stretch, but I guess it could happen. Then I would say that he'd probably go somewhere else.
Weirder things have definitely happened.
Yeah.
It will be interesting to see how it plays out, but remains to be seen. I mean, Carrollton Trojans, give them a shout out. They're undefeated right now.
They're dominating.
Will they make it to the Benz and be successful? We know Juju definitely wants that, so we'll see, and we'll definitely keep you updated.
They got a tough road
on where he ends up committing to. What's on your mind? We have a fun one tonight. We were just talking about conspiracy theories before we came on air.
Yeah.
Do you have a conspiracy theory you believe in?
All right, so we just talked about this briefly. I think in some way, shape, or form, and I'm not saying it's what we conventionally know it as, I think that Bigfoot is real. Now, I'm just saying
Bigfoot is not
that
real.
there is so much land on this planet that has been uncharted that there definitely could be something like a Bigfoot. Like what we would envision a Bigfoot with. Tall, standing on two legs.
Like a hairy person.
Yeah, like basically a Chewbacca.
I know, Maria. I know. I don't believe it either.
Possibly. Somewhere
on
this planet. And you can't tell me there aren't some stuff in the ocean that we don't know what's going on.
I believe
There's
the
definitely
ocean,
some freaky
but the
stuff going
ocean
on in
is
the
like
ocean.
10 times bigger.
For sure.
Not even 10. A baby pigeon. Wait, what? My mind just pooped. Do they really? What?
I've never seen a baby pigeon, but
I
yeah,
haven't
no,
seen a baby pigeon. Now my head is exploding. How much time do we have? The conspiracy theory, I don't know if I believe in this, but I think it is wild whenever it's brought up, is that singer Avril Lavigne has died and is being impersonated. I don't know where that began, but everyone says she died in 2003, and that's the person who made Complicated. And now it's a woman named Melissa Vandella who has been impersonating her ever since. Don't know why. I just think it's one of those ones that kind of makes me giggle of like, how do these things get started?
How about you chill out?
Listen.
Chill out. What you yelling for?
Chill out. Okay, let's just go
Thank
straight
you.
to.
Okay.
Let's go. Let's toss the break. That's when you know it's time to wrap, when we start singing. It's not the first time, probably won't be the last time. That does it for this edition of Sports Tonight for Lee Smith. I'm Bailey Burmaster. Stick with us throughout the rest of the week. We will have all your sports headlines. Have a good night.